So this issue of Greta being used at the UN and this whole platform of discussion that is evolving around her and being pushed in and through her by the professional people that back this agenda, this Edward Bernays style of creating a story to sell a product, a concept, an idea, a direction, a change is very obvious in this scenario. And I have an article that I want to share with you. So we'll get to that straight away in just a moment. But I want to show you what they're doing with this whole issue of we have to protect Mother Earth. We have to, and I don't call it that. I call it the Earth, but this is what they call it. We have to protect this Mother Earth, our planet, our habitat rather. They also connect in with it like an actual spiritual entity, Gaia, and they pair the 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 planet with this spiritual aspect of a form and an entity. And in paganism, it's all about earth worship. And so you have witches that are out there, and they draw circles, and they have all these little rituals and things in nature where they try to manipulate the forces, so to speak. And those would be the spirits. And much more could be said about that. But what I see with this movement and using these young people, because I'm really seeing this, these young women and younger are really being used to put in the minds and hearts of people that we need to do this new thing now. And of course, what you don't realize and what they're not going to tell you is the new thing involves taxing you for absolutely everything. And they probably will get to the point where they're taxing you for breathing, honestly, which a long time ago would have been a funny joke, but everything they're doing now, it's not funny and it's not a joke. They want to go to the level of full bore communism and taxing you on absolutely everything. And so what's really interesting is not only do you see the planet plus the spirit, this paganistic idea that we need to worship this entity who is not God, so that's idolatry. This use of the young female child or young woman needs to be part and parcel of, we're fighting for their rights. And then this whole issue of, and their future, and this whole issue of, look at the sign, it says, as the oceans rise, so will we. And with this child and with this message is this very dangerous, violent sort of twisting that's coming that I want to highlight, because I'm seeing a lot with this idea that the ends justify the means. If in the end we're going to have to kill a bunch of people off to save Mother Earth, if we're going to have to polish a bunch of kids off, if we're going to have to polish off, and when I say polish off, I mean murder a bunch of Christians or new Christians or Gentiles or people that don't get under Noahide or people that don't agree with our political philosophy or then that's what we need to do, because it's all about meeting that end goal. And so these are some very dangerous ideas, and they do have a base in New Age. This has been talked about for a long time. Barbara Marx Hubbard, boy, look that girl up. She has talked, as well as Donald Neil Walsh, for years about Mother Earth cleansing us, getting rid of us. This is not a new idea, but what I do see as being a new implementation of whatever you want to call it, a second wave, third wave, whatever you want to call it, group of young adults that are being pushed in the mass media through social media to augment the worldview of people to make mass worldwide depopulation palatable, acceptable, likable, reasonable. And I have talked to people who have told me that they find there's no problem in polishing off billions of people. And then I had to tell them, well, you realize that you're using absolutely evil, Hitler-esque type of a worldview in your understanding of right and wrong, to which, knock, 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 you could not get through. But that's okay. That's okay. I don't want to spend a whole lot more time on that, except to say that there's definitely an agenda of the female Christ rising. And Shaking My Head Productions, I want to show you that really quick too. because he has a video, and I haven't been able to get through the whole thing yet. I just need more time in my day. I'm sure you feel the same way. And he has a whole expose that he does, and hopefully, here it is. It's this one right here. The goddess of Babylon exposed. The truth may shock you. This is really important. You know, I think I started it. I don't know if I got a chance to get all the way through it. I did not. Okay, this is super rich, and I would say this is going to be a really important video to undergird and to understand where this stuff is going. Yeah, this is a good video. I did see a good portion of this. I need to take some time and sit back and look. Oh, yes, I remember that because I put that in for one of my videos. Yes, okay, it's all coming back to me now. I have a lot going on upstairs. Oh, and this is where I stopped, right here at this juncture. Anyhow, I will put a link in so that you can go sit down and watch this because it's only 42 minutes, which for him isn't bad because usually his stuff is a good 2.5 hours long, sometimes an hour long. So this is incredibly important. And then when you start talking about the concept of the goddess of Babylon, oh my word, you will recognize that the end of the Bible talks about this planet of rebellion, this selfish, disgusting, God-seeking, God-forsaken, evil entity in the symbol of woman. Not that women are evil, but in symbol, the bride of Christ being the exception, the symbol, I say, as evil gets hers in the end, right? Because she wants all this blood, and God's like, oh, you gonna get blood, all right? Right? And that's not how Yahweh talks, but I'm just being silly. But really, that in the end, that is how God deals with her, this entity. You see this entity building now, is the point. And they're using, this is the kicker, they're using our children to do it. This is unbelievable to me. So anyhow, I would say that this is probably one of the most important videos on this topic, and particularly where he is, yeah, where he is talking about this. Look, climate activist Greta Thunberg proclaimed, look at this, successor of Christ. So a successor is somebody that takes on after. By the Church of Sweden. So they're elevating her to a place and position of major stature. And that's awfully stupid to do, to start pumping a child's brain that has a sinful nature, that they are the voice of a generation, that they are on the same level as deity. I mean, these are some dangerous ideas. You've been a student of history at any point in time and read about what happened in World War II and whatnot. You find out exactly how dangerous worldviews can be. The Church of Sweden believes that climate activist Greta is a successor of Christ. That's very dangerous that it's a church that's giving her this credence and this title. This is very dangerous just for this child's own psyche. You should not be telling a sinful person, and we're all sinners, that you're God and that you are a voice of an entire generation. Because what's going to end up happening is they're going to use this. Remember when Christ said that they're going to come and they're going to kill you? And he said, and they're going to think that they're doing God a service. This is Satan saying, we got to wipe a bunch of you off. He's going to pretend to be this abomination of desolation, this AI enhanced GAIA, this robot god that's going to take over everything. Plus, you got an antichrist coming. Plus, you got a fake Holy Spirit in the form of some type of implantable device inside of you, yoking you to all this, right? You've got a big problem coming for those who are going to be here. But anyhow, you have the church in Sweden backing this child as like a female Christ with Lutheran roots. Okay, well, that's what I grew up in, and I can tell you it's a lot of religiosity and nonsense that doesn't get you to the blood of Jesus Christ and salvation, at least not the church I was at. Affirmed through the social media, Twitter, that her discourse, now this is huge. Let me blow this up Wow. Just drink this in for a minute because this is huge. This is cracking on the first command. Is the most similar image of Christ nowadays. Wow. Right, so they've got her in this sort of Marian form, right? They've got the halo of holiness, rather, about her head. Saint Greta is what that would be. You're really evoking these images of the Virgin and the second covenant, New Jerusalem, or Jerusalem, our mother. She's a personification of the covenant of Jesus Christ and the first three feasts of the gospel: Passover, unleavened bread, first fruits. She's in this very Revelation 12 um, form here, holding the planet. This is telling people that there's a story being evolved here, that the earth is going to be destroyed. Well, there is a destruction coming already, but it's not coming from man breathing or animals, moving and living about us and all this. Not to say that there isn't pollution, and there are some companies that definitely should be held to account. But this idea that, total climate catastrophe. Oh, you go read Isaiah 24. God's got something coming that's going to smack into the earth. And the prophet Isaiah says it's going to be like the earth is a drunkard, right? They can't walk straight. There's a problem coming, all right. There's 21 problems coming called God's judgment. God gets mad for this very thing. What you see happening right here is one of the reasons God's mad, because exactly as it says in Romans 1, you have mankind turning and twisting who and what they worship, and it's not the God of the Bible. It's not Creator. It's not Yahweh. It's not Jesus, Creator Yahweh as the last Adam. It is man and things and people and stuff. And so this is the stuff that makes God mad. This is the stuff that brings about the correction of God. And it's not just that he gets angry, although he can get angry. It's that there's hell at the end of this, because people that don't get their sins paid for have to go pay for them. So huge correction coming. Anyhow, I mean, there is just so much important stuff about the Georgia Guidestones, about this formation of this coming woman, this spirit, this Gaia, this general artificial intelligence android that Christ would call it the abomination of desolation. See, Satan is going to get a hold of everything, the power and the infrastructure of everything. Now, I'm not going to have a chance to get to my original desire to get back to this article, but we'll just keep doing videos until I feel like we're done. And I invite you to watch all of those. All of my videos are less than 15 minutes long, so that's nice, at least if you don't have a whole lot of time. But nonetheless, what we're seeing is the groundwork being laid through children, through witchcraft, through the use of technology for man to be given an idea that they can somehow get around this coming lie of global climate change. And all we're going to have to do is kill a bunch of people. And so that which used to be something evil, wicked, bad, clearly assigned a negative moral evil, is through all of these videos, all of these propaganda pieces, all of these sweet, innocent little faces. Doesn't she just look so sweet and innocent? Sweet little Greta? They are flipping the idea that it is efficacious to mass murder people. And if you don't know that some of the people out there are accepting it and running with it and going, well, sorry, they were doing, they are, that was the point. They have been doing these stupid little exercises in schools for some time where, you're out in the boat and you've got so many people, and you've got to make a decision, and some of the people got to leave the boat. You got to murder some of the people. Which people are you going to murder? These types of ideas have been put into the children's minds already long in advance, so that it sets up this idea that, okay, so we have this planet and some of you are going to have to die. But in all reality, God is not dumb. He made a good planet. It's not having the kind of problems that people say it is. Although there are some from the top who are trying to do a lot of evil things. Of course, they're hidden in the shadows and don't tell you that. That's another story for another day, as we're running out of time here. But what is really important to understand is that the virtues and things that God said are good and efficacious are now being flipped on their head, right? And this is going to have an end point where right now we're just watching setup. But pretty soon, one of these days, rivers of blood will flow from the guillotines, from the Noahide, from this idea that we need to kill some of the population. And it's Satan's goal to kill.